Hello, my bookish besties, and welcome back to my channel. Today, as you probably saw by the title of this video, we are going to be discussing some stats for our mid-year check-in. To start, let's figure out how many books I've read so far this year. I don't know off the top of my head, actually. Let's see. I have read 71 books so far this year as of right now recording this video. My goal was originally 52 because if you do the math, that's obviously one book a week, which I think is really, really good. Obviously, we've been cooking a little bit this year and we have surpassed that goal, so I moved the goal up to 125. And according to Goodreads, I am 10 whole, can you even see that? Hello. I am 10 whole books ahead of schedule, so we are doing really well. I have read a really good mix of fast-paced books, slower books, bigger books, little books, etc. But anywho, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the questions. Question number one, I have them on my phone here, by the way. Question number one, the best book you've read so far. I have looked through the list of the 71 books I've read this year, and the one that stands out to me the most honestly, is Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. I read The Infernal Devices for the very, very first time earlier this year, and I will say, I've said this before, in fact, I said it pretty recently in a favorite books of all time update video. If you want to go watch that, it's in the cards. But anywho, I don't feel like individually this book is the best thing I've ever read, but like as a series as a whole and as like a trilogy closer, phenomenal. If I had to pick like a second place prize though, I think I would have to give it to. I feel like I would give it to one of these two romances. This one was just like so cute and cozy and just like literally perfect. Also, I think this cover looks like my husband, my dog, and I. So this book just like is special in like a cutesy kind of way. But then you between the lines, this is about two like academic poetic rivals who fall in love kind of, and they like are writing about each other and all this crazy stuff. And this to me was perfect. This was like my personal perfect book. One thing about me is I love poetry. In fact, I've been published a couple times, but whatever. I love poetry, okay? So this book, like to its core, it's flawless. It's perfect. It is perfect. But I do have to admit, I think Clockwork Princess is my favorite read so far of this year. Question two is the best sequel. I chose two for this category because they are best for different reasons. Let's talk about them. The first sequel I picked was Us Against You. I stand by the fact that I think Beartown could be read as a standalone book. In fact, I think I would prefer to have read it as a standalone book. However, I did personally enjoy Us Against You more than Beartown. Which I know, those are literally conflicting, but it's just the way I feel, okay? Like, Us Against You was way more shocking and emotionally charged for me. That being said, I do, again, think that Beartown could be a standalone. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I think if Us Against You was Beartown, like if the tragedy and some of the emotions that happened in this book were the events of the first book, and you just like kind of mash them together, it'd be a perfect book. Does that make sense? And then the second sequel that I think was the best I've read so far this year, this is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. This is book 2 to Ninth House. Literally perfect. Actually, did I read Ninth House this year? Because if so, that would definitely be the top book. I think I read it at the end of last year though, if we're being honest. Because I would have picked Ninth House. Just scrolling through all my books. Okay, yeah, no, I didn't read it this year. Whew, thank goodness. I was worried I was cheating on my girl Alex. But anywho, this is the sequel to the Ninth House book by Leigh Bardugo, the second in a trilogy. This book, I was already obsessed with Ninth House. And then we add in all of the dynamics and just everything that happened in this book. Literally crazy. I loved it, ate it up 5 stars, okay? I just love them. I love Dawes, I love Darlington, I love Alex, I love all of it. And I thought the adventure and the found family in this one was so fun and unique. Definitely unlike anything else I've read. Question 3 is a new release you still have not read. I, once again, have a couple sitting here. Let me grab them. The first one is Broken Dove. This was like probably in my top 3 most anticipated releases of this year, especially after reading and loving Silver Elite pretty early on in my year this year. But I, for some reason, have still not read this. I literally purchased an Audible copy. I got this copy, obviously, and I just still haven't done it. It's like one of those books that I'm so excited about reading that I'm putting it off. Why? Couldn't tell you. But I'm hoping to get to it in July. It is on my official July TBR. And then speaking of July TBR, I added this like the second I finished my TBR jar video. It literally came in the mail. Like, I stopped recording and then this showed up on my front doorstep, which is unfortunate because it also fits one of the prompts. One of the prompts I drew has chapter titles. Anywho, this is a very, very new release, so like it's not super surprising that I haven't read it yet, but Ashley Poston is one of those authors for me that like the second this thing hits my doorstep, you best believe I'm picking it up. So the fact that it's been like 4 days and I still haven't picked it up, crazy. But I'm trying really, really hard to read the books I'm excited about. Obviously, I'm excited about this one, but I'm also really excited about a couple of the books I'm currently in the middle of, so we'll get to it eventually, though. Don't worry. Question 4 is the most anticipated book for the rest of the year. Obviously, my personal answer is Deadbeat. That is the 3rd book in the 9th House trilogy, the Alex Stern trilogy, if you will. I am ecstatic. I have full faith that Leigh Bardugo is going to wrap this story up in the best way possible. I am like gnawing at my enclosure to get it. She announced that there will be no arcs or anything for it either, so I am dying to read it the day it comes to my house. In fact, my friend and I have planned a very special trip to Yale in celebration of the 3rd book. If you don't know, 9th House takes place at Yale University, and we are going to go tour and just kind of hang out in Alex's stomping grounds, and I'm so excited. Obviously, I'm excited for the new ACOTAR. I feel like there are a couple other new releases kind of on my radar for the rest of the year. I'm like a serial, okay, let me tell you a secret about me. I am a serial book pre-orderer. If there's a pre-order to be had, I am unfortunately going to have it. So I'm sure there are tons of other new releases for the rest of the year that I'm also excited about, but Deadbeat and a little bit of ACOTAR definitely take the cake for this question. Question 5, the biggest disappointment of the year. Again, I have 2. The first one is the Mind F series. This one is one of those books that I feel like everyone and their mother has rated this 5 stars. Best, murder, thriller, romantic book they've ever read. Okay, no. Not at all. I think I averaged about 2 stars for all of the little books in here. If you don't know, this is basically about a girl who is a serial killer, and she falls in love with the FBI agent on her case. And he doesn't know, like, she knows that he is hunting her, but he doesn't know that she is who he is hunting. Yeah, I don't know. It was just incredibly spicy. Like, incredibly spicy. And yeah, I don't know. I definitely have tons of reading vlogs of me deep diving my feelings into this book if you want to go see them. But I just feel like overall the vibe I kind of got was like, this is super unrealistic, and I hated how fast their relationship progressed. Like, it didn't make sense to me that he is like the head of the FBI, essentially. Like, he is one of their top agents, the big boy on campus, right? And he falls in love with her, and then basically is like willing to give up his job for her. You've known her 1 week. Weird, but anyhow. And then my second biggest disappointment, surprisingly, was The Bands of Mourning. This is the 3rd book in Mistborn Era 2. In fact, this is one of the only books I haven't done a Cosmere Connections, like, deep dive video on, because I feel really bad making a video about a book I didn't particularly love, and I don't know if this was just like right book, wrong time, because I feel like everyone says that this is the book. Like, this one and The Lost Metal, book 4, are the books for Era 2, and I so far have liked the first book the most. This book was just a little boring in my opinion. Like, I don't even remember what happens. I know they are searching for the bands of mourning, which are some, you know, these bracelets, basically, that someone from Mistborn Era 1 wore, and they're like going on an adventure. It kind of had like a heist piratey vibe going on, but I just didn't like it. I thought the characters were kind of boring in this one. The plot was kind of boring. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really upset that I didn't love this one because, like I think I've said before in some of my videos, I've loved pretty much everything I've read by Brandon Sanderson, except for this one and Oathbringer, which, like, oh, and Yumi. I really, really don't like Yumi. But I feel bad because it's like giving me a Brandon Sanderson book slump. However, we do have Rhythm of War on our July TBR, so we will be getting back to him soon, don't you worry. And like I said, this one could very well just be a fluke. Next we have the biggest surprise, which I kind of alluded to earlier, but that'd have to be Silver Elite. Everyone and their mom was telling me that this is like one of the worst books they've ever read, 0 out of 5 stars, written by AI, awful, all of these things. And then I finally one day just kind of picked it up and was like, you know what? I'm going to try it for myself, YOLO, whatever, like low risk. I'm going to read it during a 24-hour readathon. I don't mind DNFing. I got it as a book of the month. I can resell it or put it in a little free library or whatever. But this book blew my freaking mind. I don't know if it was just the fact that I did binge it in those 24 hours, so like not really putting it down to think about it, like made me enjoy it more or what. But to me, I have thought about this book pretty much nonstop since I read it back in January. Like, this was one of the first books I read this year. Hello? That's crazy. But yeah, I'm so glad that I decided to read this and didn't let the kind of like negative energy surrounding this book put me down, because I am obsessed. And I don't know if it's also just, like I said, kind of the era of life I'm in right now. I read it in 24 hours. It kind of has a lot of elements that I enjoy. I enjoy kind of a spy, undercover, like police academy kind of vibe and setting. And yeah, personally, I don't think it was written by AI. But if they come out and say that, flabber me gasted. The next question and the one after that both relate to this same book. So question 7 is a new favorite author. For me, that has to be Cassandra Clare. I have been reading through her universe this year in preparation for the very last, I almost said Cosmere. Her and Brandon Sanderson are like literally like this in my brain, okay? Like, I know they're different, but to me, they're the same. Shadowhunters, the very last Shadowhunters trilogy, like ever. The first book is getting published this fall in November, I believe, which, again, kind of an anticipated release because I am loving what I've read so far. But alas, I still not finished. But anywho, all that to say, a new to me author this year is definitely Cassandra Clare. I can't believe I never read these books as a kid, okay? Like, I think that as a child, I had heard the rumor about the Mortal Instruments, as we all probably have heard by now, and it scared me. I was like, yo, what are y'all freaking reading? Also, I didn't really read like that as a kid, to be honest, but something compelled me to pick these up right now as an adult. And you know what? Thank Jesus I did, because oh my gosh, I am 7 books into her 23-ish book universe right now, and I'm obsessed. I had to take a little bit of a break after Clockwork Princess just for my own mental health. This book, like I mentioned, wrecked me, but I am down bad obsessed. And then question 8, your newest fictional crush? Guys, I am obsessed with Jim Carstairs. Carstairs. Jim from The Infernal Devices. Hello? I was literally, it was like 3 a.m., okay? I, again, read these during a 24-hour readathon. That's like kind of just a theme for me. But it was like 3 a.m., right? I was literally looking up violin tattoos. I'm so obsessed with Jim. my sweet, sweet Jim. And obviously I love Will Herondale as well. But there was just something about Jim that I just find so compelling. I am obsessed with him. I'm trying to think who he reminds me of, because I did say in my Infernal Devices reading vlog that Will Herondale and Damon Salvatore might as well be the same person, but like in the bestest way possible. And I'm trying to think who Jim reminds me of, because he's not a Stefan really. He's like a sweetheart, but he's got issues, but he's got yearning. And just let me know down in the comments below, who is Jim Carstairs? Like, who in media does he remind you of? Because I need to know. I can see Will Herondale, like I said, in my brain so clearly. Like, he is Damon, okay? You cannot convince me otherwise. But I don't know who I view Jim as. So yeah, let me know. Question 9 is your favorite cast or favorite character. And I have to admit, and I do think it's partly because of the TV show, okay? So take this maybe with a grain of salt. But I am so down bad obsessed with Off Campus right now, as we literally all are. I love them. I do have to admit, my favorite, both book and character, is John Logan. I have been reading the score for like 6+ weeks now, and I really genuinely think it's going to be a 2-star when I finish. But that being said, okay, the show, Dean and Allie in the show is perfection. Their book selves, though, personally, I'm not a fan. So I'm really glad that the show is there to save these characters for me. Hannah and Garrett are cute. Like, I'm obsessed with them in the show, but like I'm not, you know? Like, I love them. But I think I'm more excited about John Logan. John Logan's book was like a 5-star, okay? Like a giddy, hee-hee 5-star. Book 1, 4-star. Like I said, book 3, 2-star. But the cast for the show specifically, 5 stars all around. 6 stars even. I love them. The next question, a book that made you cry. Do we even have to guess at this point? I sobbed. I'm sure there were other books that I've read so far this year that have made me cry a little bit, but I can't think of any. Meanwhile, like, I know for a fact I cried reading that one. Us Against You kind of made me tear up, but it was like a little tear. Clockwork Princess, bawling. I'm looking through my Goodreads to see if there's anything else. I mean, okay, so Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson did make me tear up and like feel really bad, but I read that book for like 5 months, so I almost don't want to count it here because I read a majority of it back in 2025. It just took me forever to finish for some reason. I feel like You Between the Lines also made me tear up, but like, well, I can't remember. That's actually it. Oh my goodness. I feel like when I scroll through my Goodreads for this year, one of my goals for the year was to read a lot, but also enjoy what I'm reading. And I read through my Goodreads and I'm like, 71 books, you say? Because I feel like so far I haven't enjoyed most of them. Anywho, the next question, the antithesis of this question, if you will, a book that made you happy. For this one, I chose The Wolf King. I read this when I was like kind of approaching a reading slump, and this book was just perfection. Like, it's just so giddy and kicking your feet, haha, silly, goofy, having a really good time. Like, I don't know if this was just right book, right time, or what, but this is like probably a 6-star read for me. I want to read the second one so bad, but they have pushed back the dang release date for book 3 like 3 times now, and it's discouraging me from continuing, if I'm being honest. But I did really, really enjoy this book. It brought a smile to my face. It was just funny. Or like giddy. Like, it just made me giddy. I felt like a girl with a crush for the first time in so long. Like, it reminded me of the feelings I had watching The Vampire Diaries for the first time, if you catch what I'm putting down. Next, we have the most beautiful book you read or bought this year. I have 2. One of them I don't physically own, But I did read an arc for it, and that is Flicker State. This book is releasing sometime in July. I want to say later July. It is by F.A. Davidson. I have pre-ordered a physical copy. It is gorgeous. I am obsessed with the cover of this book. It's like just like dark academia magic. It is splendid. Ooh, I just thought of another one. Let me grab it. Okay, this is a recent addition to my library. Like, I just picked it up like 2 weeks ago. But I do, for some reason, love this cover for the Unicorn Hunters. This is a new release by Catherine Arden. I have not read anything by her before, but I have heard of her. But something about this cover, it's just doing it for me. Like, I just love it. I love kind of the, like, unicorn and the girl and the light. Like, I think it's stunning. And the end pages. The Fairy Loot edition for this, I almost bought. It was in my Pango cart, but I found a signed copy at my local Half Price Books, so I did buy that instead. But like the Fairy Loot edition, I'm really into kind of those like medieval tapestries right now. In fact, I have a little unicorn print that I just recently added to my art wall. Like, I'm kind of just into that vibe. And that book, especially the Fairy Loot edition, that vibe. But my number one answer for this question is definitely I almost said A Dance with Lies. A Dance of Lies. I bought this book. I mean, obviously I had heard good things about this. Emmy read this, like, I want to say earlier this year or last year, and loved it and really hyped it up and talked about how important the representation and stuff of, like, chronic illness and stuff like that is in this book. And I was like, that book sounds right up my alley. But, obviously, I also had to get it because this is one of the most gorgeous covers I've ever seen in my life. Are you kidding me? The stained glass? Like I said, did people's reviews make me want to read this anyways? Duh. But would I probably have bought it just for the sheer fact it's gorgeous? Gorgina. Gorgeous. Yeah, I would have. So what? Sometimes you're allowed to buy books just because they're pretty, okay? And this one? Pretty. Pretty. And the second book comes out really soon, I believe. Like September? That one is called A Dance with Death. I want to say. Not sure. But it's also a gorgeous stained glass piece. And again, the Fairy Loot edition. Oh, gorgeous. I do wish that the naked hardcover was a little cuter on this, I will admit. But anywho, both of these I just noticed are from Del Rey. Del Rey, whatever y'all are doing to your covers, okay? I'm a big fan. Big fan. This is my vibe, okay? Let's keep it up. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. And they both have kind of that medieval thing going on. Yeah. I like it. And then last but not least, a book that I would like to get to by the end of this year. I have 3. I don't know why I can't pick just one book for any of these questions, but alas, here we are. First, I want to read more Cosmere. Obviously, I would love to get caught up with Brandon Sanderson. If you are new to my channel, had a major goal last year to read every work he has published up to, or like at least in the Cosmere. I know he has little bits here and there, but at least every book in the Cosmere until Dragonsteel Nexus. However, I didn't finish that. I had, I think, 5 or 6 books remaining by the time Nexus rolled around back in December. And then I hit a little bit of like a Brandon Sanderson reading slump. And I have not picked up one of his books since like February. So we're going to get back in it and we are going to hopefully catch up. I still have Rhythm of War, nope, I read Oathbringer. We still have Rhythm of War, Wind and Truth, The Lost Metal, Sunlit Man, Isles of the Emberdark. And then I want to do a reread of Tress of the Emerald Sea. That was my very first Brandon Sanderson, and I don't really remember much of it, so I do want to do that. And then I have his like standalone works. Like, I still need to read the Skyward series. I recently found a first edition print of Steelheart. I would love to read that. And then we have the book that we got last year at Dragonsteel's. It was called Tailored Realities. It's a bunch of like non-Cosmere short stories, I'd love to read that. But basically the moral of the story is I have about 5 or 6 books left in the Cosmere, and then a couple of other Brandon Sanderson pieces that I could dip my toes into. I would love, if nothing else, to at least finish the Cosmere. My other big goal is I would love to read more Cassandra Clare. I am challenging myself in July to hopefully finish the next 3 Mortal Instruments books. I have those there behind me, and then read all of the side books that I need to, and then also read the Dark Artifices, I think is the name of the next series I have, because my favorite Cassandra Clare creator, Hallie is Dreaming, I think is her username, recently posted a vlog of her reading the Dark Artifices during summer, and she said that is like peak. So if we can, I would like to read those in summer. I'm thinking like September is probably my cutoff. I usually celebrate my birthday by saying like this is the first day of fall, and that's September 1st. So we have a little under 2 months now to hopefully catch up, but we'll see what I do. And then I do have one specific standalone book, and that is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I don't know what it is about this specific book, but it has really been speaking to me recently. I think it's because if you watched my favorite books video, you would know that If We Were Villains is one of my like all-time favorite books, and these usually get kind of compared to each other. So I think that because of the fact that I'm obsessed with If We Were Villains, I am also in fact going to be obsessed with this. And I am ecstatic to give it a shot. There is a quote that says like, I am nothing if not obsesses or something like that. And I see this tattoo floating around Pinterest, and I want it so bad. There's just something about this book, like I said, that's speaking to me. Like, this is #1 priority for fall. I love a dark academia. Oh my gosh, the font in here is so small though. It's okay, we are strong. We are strong people. This was released in 1992. I didn't realize it was, for some reason I thought this was older. Like, people always talk about this as if it is a classic, which like I feel like it's a modern classic, but anywho, all that to say is if I don't read The Secret History this fall, jail. Straight to jail. But anywho, those are all of the books on my mid-year wrap-up, recap, whatever you want to call it. Let me know down in the comments below, what are some of your answers to these questions? I have them all linked in the description bar, so let me know. But anywho, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I love you so much, and I really hope to see you in the next one. Bye guys.